You're tuned in to Community Crime Report Live, the daily live stream show that features news, reviews, and commentary on criminal activity in communities around the world. If you're connected in any way to a crime in your community and would like to share your perspective and other details with our viewers, we invite you to be a guest on our show. Simply contact our production team to schedule an interview. Viewers can also call into the show to join the live discussion. If you have a question or comment to share and discuss with our host and our guests, simply send us a message for instructions on how to enter the studio to join the discussion. This can easily be done from your mobile phone, laptop, or other device. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the first episode of Community Crime Report Live. I'm your host, Charles Lewis, and I'm broadcasting from Barbados in the Caribbean. Today, we're going to be talking about Community Crime Report. This is perhaps the most ambitious project I've ever undertaken, and it has the potential to become the most comprehensive, the most up-to-date source of information about criminal activity around the world. Today, I have three guests in the studio with me. We have Dana from New York. She is a podcaster. We have Kiana. She's all the way in South Africa. And we have Rosemary. Rosemary is from Ohio, and they're going to join me in what will be a very lively conversation today about the CCR platform, as well as the CCR live stream broadcast. Ladies, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Okay, let me start by giving the backstory to the CCR program. If anyone had told me 5 or 10 years ago that I would be hosting a show about crime and crime reporting all over the world, I would have said they were absolutely crazy. And but here I am, and it all started about a month and a half ago when I became a victim of an attempted home invasion, a failed home invasion. This youngster tried to break into my home, but failed, and he proceeded to steal stuff off my porch. But my video camera got very good footage of him, and I was able to share this footage with the police as well as neighbors in the community. And this is how we were able to apprehend him, or I should say the police, 2 days later. This is where the idea came from. I thought that if I could create a more elaborate, a more global version of the community or crime watch program or neighborhood watch, that it would be a very effective crime fighting tool, not only for community members to report instantly on experiences with crime, but also for police and other law enforcement agencies around the world to have access to information that is pertinent to investigations they're currently working on. Now, I do not want to preempt any questions you guys have for me, so let us get the ball rolling. I know you guys have a number of questions you want to pose. Let's start with Dana. First of all, Dana, tell me about yourself. Let's introduce you to the audience. Tell me about what you want to do.
Hi, my name is Dana Truppiana, and I do a video series doing like true crime kind of videos about mobsters and gangsters. So you can check out my channel over on YouTube or any streaming platform, YouTube, Facebook, any of that, you'll be able to find me. I've been doing that for about 2 years, and I'm really into true crime. So yeah. I'm excited to do this podcast here today.
Fantastic. Kiana is from South Africa, and she's a crime reporter with the Community Crime Report. Tell us how you first heard about the Community Crime Report platform and what your thoughts were when you first heard about it, Kiana.
So I was obviously looking for work. I was looking specifically for remote work. And I came across the ad for, this platform to be a crime reporter. it just happened that, it was something that I was extremely passionate about. Crime in South Africa is quite hectic. And I think because of the lack of awareness in and around the areas, it was a problem. People didn't really know what was going on, or there wasn't really a place they could go to be up to date with things that were happening in the areas that they lived in. I've also been, a victim of crimes here. So it became a real passion for me to be a part of the project and create the awareness that I think we so desperately need in this country.
Right. And Rosemary, just tell us a bit about yourself and what is your take on the Community Crime Report platform?
Well, thank you for having me on, and I look forward to our journey together. I was a victim of several crimes, and so was my family. And they start with in our own community. So that's what attracted me to your website was community crime. It does start in your own community, and it escalates in this country all the way up to Washington. So I've had several crimes committed to me, and also my family members have had very bad crimes committed to them. So when I saw the advertisement, my whole life I've wanted to be a journalist and be an investigative reporter. So when I saw your ad, I thought to myself, this is something that really intrigues me. As a victim, I'd like to make my community have awareness of what's going on in their neighborhoods, communities, also throughout the country and outside the country. Crime is the number one problem in the United States. Whether we realize it or not, we have to accept it, but we need to take action. And that's what attracted me to you, Mr. Lewis, is that I like your idea of taking action, making a difference in our world, in our communities, so that we could help innocent victims that have been victimized
Yeah.
with the process, and whatever we can enlighten people, educate them on crime, help people, make them aware. That's why I'm here. And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Oh, well, you're all welcome. And it's my pleasure to have the opportunity to speak with all of you. Uh, this is a live interactive discussion. So if any listener would like to join the discussion, if you have a question or a comment you would like to make or share with yes, feel free, just send me a message, and I will give you the link to come into the studio and for a few moments to pose your question. Okay, let's go straight to it. Now, you guys have a number of questions you want to pose, and let's start our discussion.
I'll go first. So can you tell me a little bit about the objective of the CCR initiative?
The CCR platform, our aim is to become the number one go-to platform for members of communities around the world, as well as police, for a comprehensive source of information on criminal activity. We are inviting members of the communities around the world to assist us by, there's an expression within the police and law enforcement agencies: you see something, say something. Well, we're inviting them to publish details of any criminal activity as quick as it happens onto our program, and then the idea is that we share this instantly with other members of the immediate community, neighboring communities, and by extension, because we're on the internet, to a global audience. And in particular, when it comes to crime prevention and crime fighting, we want to establish strategic, sustainable partnerships with police and other law enforcement agencies around the world.
So for me, what I found interesting when I came across the platform was that it was a global initiative. And I wondered why you would do that. Why not just make it for your region or, for your community? Why would you want to have it be a global thing?
I did not intend to launch a global monster like this has become now. I thought initially that I would be doing this just for my immediate community in Barbados. And Barbados itself is a very small country, and my community is but what, 200-300 people. But as I launched the program, more and more people became very intrigued by what I was developing, and they wanted to know whether I would extend it to other communities around the world. And it has morphed into becoming a global initiative. And why not? It makes sense. If you're on the, why be on the internet and just localize, particularly for something like this. This can easily be managed globally, and we'll talk about the networking strategy to effectively manage this very shortly. But that is how it grew from a small local community project to what it is today.
How do you plan on, how do we get our message across as a podcaster to our communities? Will it be through social media, websites? Do we plan on advertising, or do you, Mr. Lewis, plan on doing a advertising campaign, a marketing campaign to get our awareness out there so people know where to tune into to find us, to find Dana, the young lady, and myself, and you as well, to grow this? And how do they find us?
Absolutely. We're going to be very proactive with our social media advertising to make sure that the CCR platform at some point in time becomes a household name. We are recruiting individuals around the world to become crime reporters for the CCR platform, and with eventually we will have 500 or 1,000, perhaps 1,500 crime reporters in different time zones and with different languages. And each time they publish a crime report on the website, on the platform, we ask them to share it on their social media program. So imagine we have 1,000 crime reporters around the world, and they're putting up crime reports and sharing it with it. We're going to have a massive reach, and this is how we're going to exponentially grow our network, and of course promote to as many listeners around the world, as many community members as we can around the world.
How are you looking to get police and other like law enforcement agencies involved, or like how do you plan to have CCR benefit them?
When I was talking to the police about the robbery I was a victim of, I had mentioned the idea to the station sergeant. His name is Sergeant Paul Lynch in Barbados, and he right away recognized the potential of it, and he encouraged me to make it into what it is today. He immediately recognized that police could benefit. Okay, in many places around the world, it is sad to say, but some people in some communities have lost faith in the police, and as a result, they do not contact police, particularly for minor offenses. They might sooner put it on our platform, so police would be able to find out things that are happening in the community by using our platform. We also want to encourage police to upload crime reports on our platform and any other tips or advisories that they want community members to be aware of. Community policing is very important to police departments around the world, and this fits nicely into their community policing strategy.
You know, it's funny that you say, you know, that we've lost faith in our community police, because that's definitely something that's true here. In South Africa, we really don't have faith in our police system and our justice system. And like you're saying, we don't actually report a lot of what happens. I mean, our crime rate is extremely high, and that's excluding, you know, the things that haven't been reported. So, you know, for me, I find that this platform is important because the message still needs to be out there. You know, people need to know what's happening in the area. And maybe, yeah, I think having this on this platform could put a lot of pressure on the police to do something about the things that are happening.
Yes.
But I mean, how do you propose that we work with the police in our areas, in your area?
I started to reach out to police commissioners, police chiefs, and police and sheriffs around the world, and every one of them got back to me and said, "It's a brilliant idea. We will discuss it amongst ourselves and get back to you." I've not had any negative response, and I'm extremely confident that we will be able to establish strategic, sustainable partnerships with police around the world. I should also mention that we are not here to displace or try to displace neighborhood watch programs or the Crime Stoppers. We want to partner with them as well. We want to reach out to neighborhood watch captains around the world to invite them to partner with us, whereby they can publish after they circulate information about something that has happened on WhatsApp. They can then publish it on our platform, and we will then take that message and and further that promotion. So every organization that is in any way directly or indirectly connected to crime or criminality is a potential partner for the CCR platform. Dana, is there anything else you would like to ask or comment on?
So, what's your strategy to find guests that would be relevant to your show?
We are going to reach out to, of course, senior police officers, public relations officers in particular. They're also community relations officers. We're going to reach out to criminal psychologists, therapists, forensic scientists. We're going to reach out to members of communities around the world to give them a voice so they can come on and talk about what they're unhappy with in terms of policing or with a crime situation, or if they want to complement the police. We're going to reach out to companies that are potential sponsors, companies that are in the security field, companies that sell security cameras, companies that do security consultancy. These are companies that would have a great interest in our success. But having said that, every company in the world is a potential guest because they can come on to talk about their products and services, because we appeal to the widest cross-section of consumers who are community members. So there's going to be no shortage, in my opinion, of people to invite on the show. Now, each episode, we will also invite the crime reporters in our network to come on and talk about crime reports that they have published on the site, to offer commentary and to engage in discussion with myself and anyone else who is a guest at the time on the show. Rosemary?
Yes,
Oh,
I love the platform, and I say to the young lady, she's right. The police have lost some credibility in different areas. Unfortunately for Cleveland, Ohio, I have all the faith and confidence in the world in our police force. Unfortunately, where you're at, because of the media and journalism, they have tainted things so bad against the police that they do need our support. They do need our help, because people have to fund the police. We need more police, not less police. And in this country, in America, they wanted to defund the police after what happened. I'm for more police because we need their protection. They risk their life every day for us. So any way that I could help them solve crimes, because I know Dana in our podcast, I'm so honored that she's a part of this team, knows somebody that still is not arrested in a crime that happened in 2015. I know people that have had crimes committed. Nothing's going on. The police now, their rights have been taken from them. They're afraid. They're not even answering. In Chicago, Illinois, they're not coming out unless it's a murder or a serious crime. So the police now have had some of their power taken from them. And I'm hoping this platform gives them the power they need back, because in every profession, there's good and bad. Every profession out there, there is good people and people that aren't so good. So we need to work together. We need to unite.
If I may make a comment on something you just said, and I want to invite the other members of the panel to weigh in on this. This defund the police movement, I could never understand that. How on earth could you imagine defunding police? What is your take on that, Dana?
So, I think I'm a little different than you guys, honestly, in my views of law enforcement. I'm not a fan. I guess I from where I'm coming from, so like the major thing that I report on is like the mafia and like gangsters, and I see a lot of the time there will be like illegal things done and things that like they're covering up.
Yeah.
Also, I also have my own crime that I've been a part of, and I watched it not get handled, not get touched since 2015. And that definitely has the ability to kind of switch you from like supporting the police and believing in the police over to somebody that's like, all right, if you won't help me, I'll do it by myself. And that is where I stand now. I don't stand in the way of law enforcement. And if we can create a tool that will help them better interact with the community to maybe lessen the amount of times that this kind of stuff is happening, great, you know. But yeah, personally, I've always kind of been the advocate of shut your mouth, don't talk to the police.
I want to get Kiana's take on this, but let me respond to what you said. This is where the CCR platform can be very useful. Whether you have, regardless to your opinion of the police, this is a platform that you can come on and voice your opinion and give your reasons. Also, please use this as a powerful voice to reach out to the community. We are going to be targeting community members around the world in a manner that will get their support. We are giving them a mouthpiece to report crime and to complain about police support or to compliment police. So this is another benefit that.
Well,
Yes, go ahead, Rosemary.
Dana, I might add, you know, unfortunately for you, you're in one of the largest high crime areas in the country, New York City, along with Chicago. So I totally relate to your version of your feelings towards the cop. Plus, you were a victim, nothing got solved. So you have some real concerns and views about because of your own, what you experienced with them. And so being from Ohio, we have a less crime than New York City. However, with that being said, even in Ohio, what went on in the whole country, what cities went up in flames and cops getting killed and ambushed for no reason at all. Like, again, we're going back to good and bad. You know, there's good doctors, bad doctors. In every profession, you're going to have good and bad. So with that being said, I do sympathize with New York because they've been through a lot. You've got a bad crime right there. And I can only hope that they can get their, and it all leads to one thing. The cops, do you realize the cops go out, they arrest somebody. It's our judicial system that's failed. It's prosecutorial misconduct. It's people that are in the higher ups that are letting the criminals back out on the streets. The cops got to deal with them again and again and again and again. The whole system is flawed. It's just not the police. It starts at the top. It starts with the judges and the prosecutors because they have the power to let these people out of jail for a long time. So we've got to unite and get our system put back together the way it should be done. And that's legally right. We can't let nobody off. No judge is above the law. No lawyer is above the law. No prosecutor should be above the law. I have a case with a prosecutorial misconduct where he's abusing his power as a prosecutor. I mean, this is going on in the courtrooms every day, and these police got to deal with it. They're back out on the street after they just arrested someone that maybe killed someone. So what do you want to do? So it's a very vicious domino effect that's spiraling out of control in this country and other countries surrounding the United States. And we need to pull together to see. That's why I love this platform, because we're going to be able to help everyone, the people being victimized like you, Dana, and myself. And also we're going to be able to help the cops be able to do their job the right way.
Fantastic. Kiana, any comment to that interesting topic? Defunding the police, no confidence in police?
You know, I tend to agree with both ladies. They both had valid points. You know, with what Dana said, I also, you know, have this problem with the police. I find that where I'm from here in South Africa, you know, the problem tends to start with the police. Things can easily disappear before they ever get the chance to get to the justice system. So, I mean, here that means drunk driving. You can easily bribe a cop. Easily you bribe a cop, they take the money, they let you go, you kill someone, because that's just what happens here. And no one No one pays for that.
Right.
A lot of the problem here stems from the actual police, because it's so easy to pay them off. It's easy to pay someone to have a docket disappear. It's
Mhm.
easy to buy off the police officers, and that's where it begins. If it's beginning there and it's not going anywhere else, it's because it's getting lost with the police officers. And like Rosemary is saying, they are good and bad, and that's true. You do get officers that are ethical, and you do get officers that work hard, and you do get officers that follow the process and stick to what they're supposed to be doing. But on the same coin, you get officers that take the bribes. You get officers that let murderers go. You get officers that
If
let
I
criminals.
may say something, you are 1,000% right. But guess who takes bigger bribes than the cops? Your judges and prosecutors. I come from a family full of them. And when I tell you that I could show you docket after docket of somebody being charged with 110 indictments and gets a slap on the wrist, that tells me that guess what? Someone's getting paid off. So it's just not the police. It's the judges and the prosecutors own the courts. They own it. That's what's going on in our country and in your country too. The biggest crooks are your white collar criminals. So a good cop could go out and do his job, and then the judge and let's say a drug dealer, for instance, got all this big money. He slips it to the lawyer, the prosecutor, who then slips half of it to the judge. That guy's back on the street. The little guy gets arrested while the big dealer's out still doing his job. So it's a domino effect. They're all in on it. But the cop starts, the good cop. Let's take the good cop. He picks up someone. He puts him in. He testifies. He thinks he's going away for 10 years. Next thing you know, he sees him back out on the street. So what happened? Then it was the prosecutor and the judge. It's the whole system is flawed. It's just not the police. The police
Are you guys
adjusted.
aren't you guys happy we started this program?
Yes, I am. I love it. I love it.
We got a comment from MHAC that says, how do you all feel that the CCR platform will work towards improving the community?
Okay, could you repeat that, Dana?
The comment says, how do you all feel the CCR platform will work towards improving the community?
Okay, wow, that's a hell of a responsibility there.
Yeah.
We are merely a platform for them to report on crime, to have that criminal activity shared very instantly, with police and other members. But I suppose once we have the audience of the community, there's a lot more we can do. And I would like to think that beyond crime, once we have direct communication and the confidence of community members around the world, we could introduce other community initiatives as a public relations strategy. But I haven't thought of those ideas yet. As a matter of fact, thank you for that comment. That comment has now led me to realize that there's more we can do. But as far as our remit is concerned, our remit is purely to report on crime and share the information with other members of the communities around the world and with police and other law enforcement agencies. But that's a brilliant comment, and I'm going to look at the possibility, perhaps not now, but down the line, where we could do other things to improve situations within the communities around the world, because we have that confidence and we have that reach. We will at that time. Okay. If I may say something, go ahead.
To interject real quick, because I don't know if other countries experience this. I don't think any other country in the world experiences it as bad as America does. But our country is very dual-sided. There's Republicans and Democrats. There's liberals and conservatives. There's two completely different sides. And that has a big impact on what you see when you turn on the news, because you can turn on Fox News and see how Donald Trump is the greatest person in the world. And then you'll turn on CNN and see how Joe Biden is the greatest person in the world. So I think that a platform like this on a global scale it'll help get unbiased reporting. And rather than the network that it's on having an impact on the news that you're getting, it's something that can get the news out to everybody. And that's like a big topic of discussion on TikTok, is that they were looking at banning TikTok in America. And it was like, well, there's a lot of news that gets out on TikTok that never would get out otherwise. We never would have heard about the French, the revolution going on, the rioting in the streets in France, if not for TikTok. So maybe this can be a platform where you can find unbiased reporting of crime, and you're going to see that regardless of what party it is.
Oh, I love that, Dana. That's exactly what this is.
Absolutely. I want to make one other comment about the no confidence vote with police and defunding police. Yes, people have valid reasons for losing confidence in police. Some people compliment police. I do not believe defunding the police is the solution. I think we have to look at the root causes of these problems where people have lost confidence and use the funding to address those problems. But defunding the police will not make the situation better. It will only put the people who manage the fund in a better place to address the problems that cause individuals like Dana to feel the way she feels, and rightfully so. There are things that we're not happy with. So before we get too derailed on that, we're going to have another discussion about that in greater detail. That's a very interesting topic. Should we defund the police or should we not? That will become one of our special reports. There's a comment where someone says that there's a need for a global neighborhood watch, and therefore the CCR platform could be that solution. Absolutely, but I would rather suggest that we try to work with the neighborhood watch programs to get the information from them and then become their voice, their global voice. I think we can and we do have the ability to partner and collaborate with all of these initiatives and not be the competition, for lack of a better expression. Okay, are there any other questions about the CCR platform or CCR Live? Go ahead, Kiana.
Yeah, so, we've been discussing that this is a global platform. How are you planning on managing this platform globally? What strategy have you put in place? Do you have a team together to do this? How are you planning on keeping a hang on this?
It is a mammoth undertaking, and in terms of gathering data or information on criminal activity, we have decided to recruit crime reporters around the world, like I stated earlier. We will eventually have 1,500 or 2,000 crime reporters all over the world, or more than that. I would like to think that someone in every community becomes our crime reporter, and we could get information on crime as it happens. Just after the police, they call the 911 number, it goes on our site. I want that newspapers and other media organizations have to come to us to find out, to get the scoop on what's happening. So in terms of gathering information and publishing information, we're going to have a global network of independent crime reporters around the world. And how that leads to another question. How do we compensate all of these individuals? As much as we all are concerned about crime, if we're going to put our effort into anything, we want to get paid. So understandably, we're going to be the revenue stream comes from sponsors. We invite companies around the world who are concerned about crime, but in the same token, they want to have greater visibility and exposure for their products and services. We are inviting them to place their advertising banner at the bottom of each crime report, whether it's a video crime report or a blog crime report. And for a mere $5, they can place one banner at the bottom of one crime report, and that banner stays there indefinitely. So that is a lifetime footprint on social media for advertising. Now, that revenue from advertising or from sponsors will go directly to the crime reporters. So they now have their own home-based business opportunity to generate revenue. And the more crime reports they publish, the more money they can make. I did a cash flow projection recently to show the income projection statement. And we imagine that within 3 months, they're looking at $500 to $1,000 a week in in revenue from sponsors, and sponsors pay them directly. So that is how we gather information. This is how we generate revenue to compensate and incentivize individuals around the world to join our team. And they will also be guests on the show. So that solves a problem. Are we going to have enough guests on the show? And I'm going to be hiring an admin team. I have 3 persons already on board, and I'm looking at another 3 to 5 persons within the next 30 to 60 days so that we can effectively manage the administration of all of this. I will be recruiting independent podcasters or hosts for the live stream so that our live stream can become a daily broadcast in different languages, different time zones. The moment I finish my show, another person takes over, and they have a show in China, they have a show in Ukraine, they have a show in Miami. So I'm going to network this so that I can effectively manage it, or else I would need to find a $1 billion budget to launch this. You may wonder, how is it being funded? I am funding this project. I did not think it would be as global as it is, but here we are today, and so far everything is manageable. I believe it will become self-financing very shortly. I hope to engage with investors. I've had 2 or 3 offers on the table so far, and I'm considering those individuals to place money with us. But of course, I want to make sure they are a right fit for what we are trying to achieve. I do not want investors who will want us to go off course. We want to become a crime fighting tool. I don't want to become an overly commercialized platform where people can make millions of dollars only while we lose sight of what we are here for as an initiative. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, I was wondering what your thoughts would be as crime reporters, journalists without the actual, we're going to be a different kind of journalist. We're not going to be opinionated and try to sway people's views the way our CNN and, like Dana brought up, Fox News, they say one thing, the other 2 stations. We're going to be independent journalists where we're out there, and our main goal is just crime. We're not going to be opinionated about it. We're trying to help it. But what I'm wondering is, what if, and do you have the capability that if we went live to be able to connect to your show, if we're involved and we're actually going to report live a crime being done like people do every day on their phones, they're showing the police, they're showing this, are we able to get out there with our phones, if we see a crime, report it, go live with you, or does this have to be just videotaped, and then the next day we would go on the show? Are we able to go live?
We can do both. Yes, that's a very good point. The technology we're using, which is the StreamYard platform, is it's amazing. We can do that. So from their mobile phone at a crime scene, they can call into, they can message me. I can activate a show right away and do a live interview, or they can do the interview there and as a recorded scenario, and then upload it to the platform, and then we could bring them on when the show is aired. But can it be done live on the spot? The technology we're using allows that to happen.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful, because I plan
Absolutely.
on getting out and doing live. If there's riots going on and things in this country, I plan on driving, going to wherever, and going live with it.
That sort of reporting is going to get a lot of viewership, and it's going to make us one of the big boys or the big girls. Okay, let's not be let's not just talk about boys. So yes, absolutely. And for example, if we were like now, if we had a reporter who was at a scene right now and sent us a message saying, "I have breaking news on a story," and they wanted to come into this discussion live, I can do it. I can do it while we're speaking, and then we can offer commentary on it right away as well.
Okay, good.
So my question becomes then, in this case, what makes this platform different from other social media platforms where perhaps the same thing can be done?
And to add on to that, how do we integrate that together as well? Not only how does it separate it, but how do we integrate it so that it's not just something that's different, where we could just say, hey, that's going on over there, let's get it onto ours as well.
You know, you guys are doing such a phenomenal job. You're making me feel as though I'm representing men all over the world. You know, three ladies against one man here. I'm representing mankind right now.
Well, we're all on the same team with you, so you're lucky. We're like Charlie's Angels. You're Charlie. You really are.
You
Can I be
certainly
Kate
are.
in this?
Okay. All right. Very good question, Kiana, and excellent add-on, Dana. You're right. Every crime report is published on social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. So why do it? Why do they need us? And how are we different? Our focus, our objective is to become a crime fighting tool, a source of information that that offers information to community members around the world, to work with police departments. We're not a platform where we try to find engaging content to get as much viewership as we can to generate revenue from advertisers and sponsors. We need to do that because we need to make money to offset our costs and to pay our network. But our remit or focus is to become an initiative to fight crime. Our main focus is stemming from our concern about crime, and that's what makes us different. We will integrate with other social media platforms by perhaps, well, I would like to reach out to the management, but journalists who publish on social media, we can copy those reports onto our platform, providing we put a link back to the original platform, so that we observe journalistic etiquette. And so that is the level of integration. I also want to invite the very same journalists who publish on Facebook and TikTok and other social media platforms to come on to our show and talk about their reports that they publish on other social media platforms. But they have, of course, there's a quid pro quo there. They've got to publish it on our platform before they come onto the show. So that is the level of integration, and this is how I believe we are different. But at some point, we actually do the same thing, but our main focus is being an initiative to fight crime, and that's not their main focus.
Now, how do we get so like I know that there's a Facebook page for every town in the country. You know, like the New York community and like Brooklyn community instead of just like all of New York. How do we get it where, because if you're on any of those pages, like the moms pages, if there's a firework that goes off down the road, they're posting it on this page. How do we get it so that that's coming onto our page as well? Like, can we partner up with these Facebook groups where if there's a crime reported on there, it can automatically be reported on our platform?
Absolutely. We will reach out to them to see whether or not we could have such a partnership. But as we reach out to community members around the world, those same mums that you're talking about, when they realize our objectives and what we stand for, our purpose, I am confident that they're going to post on our site as well. They're not going to stop posting on Facebook. They're not going to stop posting on Instagram. But I am very confident that they will feel a compulsion to post on ours because of the very nature of our business model. And of course, hopefully, I don't think we'll ever get that partnership with the giants like of the likes of Facebook. I mean, we're too small compared to them, but certainly we can reach out to the admins of groups on Facebook, and I'm sure they can see the benefit of working with us, because what it does for the persons that post, they can share that post onto our platform, so it gives more exposure and visibility of their post on Facebook. So it's a very interesting collaboration, and it's a win-win for all of us. Any other questions or comments, Rosemary?
Well, I was thinking, like, for instance, would this be out of the platform? So we're going to talk about crime and fighting crime. So in the city of Youngstown, Ohio, they were voted 10 worst cities to live in the country. 10. It's 40,000 population. The governor of the state of Ohio funded the city of Youngstown $88 million to help fight crime. Guess what the mayor appropriated the funds for? Cameras. Guess where he put them? In school zones. where there's no accidents. Okay. So if you look
Yeah.
at the school zone, you have to go 20. There's not one school child that has been hit by a car. To me, those cameras should have been put in high area crime areas, not in school zones to catch people so you could generate more money for speeders than
Mhm.
catching criminals. So I would like to interview that mayor. I want to ask him that question. Why did you put the cameras there? You were funded $88 million. You're 10th in the country with a population of 40,000, highest in crime, worst cities to live. And you decide to take this money and appropriate it into school zones so people do the speed limit of 20 when you haven't had a child hit by a car in the city ever.
Interesting comment. I would suggest that in segments, well, discussions like that can go into our special report segment of every show. And I would love to encourage you.
Yeah.
I am encouraging you to call out the mayor. And if the mayor does not come to the show, we can talk about it.
Okay.
I want to be able to address any issue that is directly or indirectly connected to crime on this show. So absolutely, I would like to dedicate 15 minutes of every 1 hour show to talking about issues like this. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, before we go any further, you're tuned into Community Crime Report Live. This is our weekly live show for the Community Crime Report. I'm your host, Charles Lewis, and in the studio with me is Dana from New York, Rosemary from Ohio, and all the way in lovely South Africa is Kiana. We're having a very interesting, very engaging, and at times very challenging discussion since I'm the only guy here. But I'm holding my own, guys. I'm representing well. I hope you are watching and giving me all the praise that is due. Okay, if you're interested in being a guest on our show, you're welcome to do so at any time. If you are at the center of any criminal activity, if you are a victim or a witness, you're more than welcome to join us in the studio to share your experience. And
Are they able to, Charles, are they able to call in if they had a question for you, or is it just going to be in the chat box?
Absolutely. They can call in. Well, it's not a telephone number to call in. I will give them a link, and they can use the same link that you all use to come into the show and pose their questions or comments for a few minutes, and then they go out of the studio.
Okay.
Perfect. Absolutely. Lovely technology. So if you're interested in being a guest on our show at any point in time, you're more than happy to join us. If you are a company owner and you would like to support our initiative to boost crime awareness and crime prevention in communities around the world, or in particular your community, we would love for you to become a sponsor. Just send us, just get in touch with us, and we will give you the relevant information so that we can place your 30-second video ad on our show or your banner on our website. Okay, what other challenge do you have for me, ladies?
What are the sponsorship packages you're putting together?
There are 3 types of packages. There is the main sponsorship, which starts at $3,000 all the way to $10,000, but that is where you have all the bells and whistles. Your banner is published on every page. You are also featured in our weekly email newsletter sent out to all of the subscribers around the world. You are featured in all of our media and press articles or press meetings. You can also sponsor the individual crime reports, whether video or blog, and your banner will appear at the bottom. There's a pricing for that. And thirdly, you can be a sponsor for this weekly live stream where your 30-second video ad will be played during the show.
Great. That's awesome.
Okay. Well, we're almost, I told you that time will go quickly. We're 10 minutes to go, almost at the end of this first episode. I have to say, though, it has been an amazing journey launching this program. I don't think I slept more than 3 hours a night for the past month and a half, and I don't expect I will get much sleep going forward for the foreseeable future. Any other comments?
Quick question: Are you ever looking? So a lot of other platforms will go from a free show to one that you have to pay for like a subscription fee. Will CCR ever start charging in the future?
That is the strategy of many initiatives on on the internet, where you have a free trial and then you have to pay. I do not believe it serves our purposes and intentions to charge at any point in time. It will always be a free platform to find out what's going on in terms of criminal activity in your city or cities around the world. So, to answer your question, no, we're never going to charge. We will find other ways to generate revenue because it is a very expensive undertaking to launch a platform like this. Just ask my accountant. He's not happy with me right now. I started this without a business plan, without a budget, I just decided I'm going to fund this, and I'm funding it, and I've not had any regrets so far. But it's starting to mount. It's starting to pile up on me, but that's okay. No, we will not be charging at any time for people to subscribe to the platform.
Perfect. And I also think, Charles, even though I'm considering us Charlie's Angels for today's episode, but I will say this, Charles, I do think that anonymous people need to know that we keep this confidential, because in crime fighting, there's a lot of people that are afraid to even talk. And so we got to be able to have the technology, and it sounds like we do, to block their faces if they want to come on. Some may want to share their crime, but not want to be having their face recognized or their name. So with that being said, I'm hoping that you do have the technology for that as well, and that we have a platform to where they could keep their anonymity and nobody would know who they are in reporting the crime.
Very good point, Rose. Very good point. As far as subscribing to the website is concerned, anyone can subscribe with an alias, and they do not have to put a picture of themselves. They can put a picture. Well, I wouldn't even suggest their dog, because somebody might recognize the dog. But they can be anonymous as a subscriber, so that when they report on crime, they can remain anonymous. As far as the show is concerned, they do not have to turn the video on. They can actually speak with the video off and only their voice. Now, I haven't looked into it as yet, but I believe there is a way we can muffle we can change the tone of the voice so that it is not easily recognizable. So I will look into that. But that is a very valid point. Anything else, Kiana? Any other comments? I think Kiana's screen.
Frozen.
Yes, it's frozen. She'll come back in. Dana, anything else? We're almost at the end of this pilot episode.
Is CCR a nonprofit?
That is a question that I've been mulling around. At the moment, it is not. I've been toying with the idea of making it a nonprofit, but I will announce at a later stage when we've made that decision to either remain as a business or a nonprofit organization. But good point. Rosemary, anything else before we bring this to a close?
No, I can't thank you enough for having me on as a guest. I look forward to my crime reporting days that are ahead of me and my investigative reporting. I plan to bring a lot of guests onto the show, a lot of victims of crimes to the show, police, and lawyers. I have 2 attorneys in my family that would love to come on and be a guest, that want to speak about their view. One of them is a prosecutor. One of them is just an attorney. One's defense, one on each side here.
Yes.
A great topic for a show, to hear both sides of the
Great.
Well, I have a lot of ideas, and I'm looking forward to the journey with all of us.
Okay, let's talk to Dana about the discussion that we're going to have in the next show.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. We don't want to preempt that discussion, but let's give them a sneak peek at what we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
So this is actually a little interesting for my viewers to my channel, because I've talked multiple times on videos about how I fully plan to put out a full story on the murder that I was involved in when I hit 100,000 followers, and I have not done that yet. So we're going to talk about it here, before
Mhm.
that point. So if any of my viewers are curious, they can come over here and see it here.
Good.
In 2015, my best friend was at work and he was murdered. The cops have it on the cops have it on video, it happening. But he had a mask and gloves on. They know who did it, but they have never made an arrest or charged anybody. And to this day, 8 years later, the person's walking free, and nothing's been done about his murder. So, and nobody talks about it anymore. It was very under the radar. Nobody really cared. And that was a huge part of why I built a platform myself to be able to share this
Yeah.
story.
Very good. I'm looking forward to that discussion. That will be a special report on the next episode. And we do have an interesting discussion with Rose, but we're not going to talk about that now for an obvious reason. But I'm looking forward to having you both on the show going forward. And I think we've had an amazing start to this
Definitely.
CCR Live. It's been very engaging. I've enjoyed it. I thought, you guys were going to railroad me, and you tried, but I held my own, and okay. And I can't wait to do it again.
Me too.
So we're going to have to bring this show to a close, unfortunately, and I look forward to the next one. So I want to thank you all, and just stay in the studio and I will speak to you after. But we need to bring it to a close. We're just about minutes away from 12 noon. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of this episode of Community Crime Report Live. I would like to thank my guests for participating in the discussion. I also thank the viewers for tuning in and giving us an audience. If you are a victim, a witness, a law enforcement officer, a crime reporter, or in any way connected to a crime, and would like to share the details with our viewers, we would love to have you as a guest on our show. Simply contact us to schedule a date and time to join me in the studio. If you are a business and would like to support our initiative to boost crime awareness and safety in your community, we invite you to become a sponsor of CCR Live. We will feature your 30-second video ad on our show to promote your products and services to our viewers worldwide. I'm your host, Charles Lewis. Bye for now. Have a wonderful day.